Hey everyone, it's Chris here with my April wrap up. I read 8 books in April, all off of my e-reader for like the e-reader readathon type of thing. So it was all e-reader books, which was really cool. And yeah, it's only 8 this month because just that's how the month went, whatever. And so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys what those books were about. First up is Lemonade Love. This was a short story. I didn't know it was going to be so short. It's like an romance about these two families. Very Romeo and Juliet-esque. But the two families have these sons who are dating. They're fine with it, but they're still feuding over their lemonade businesses. And the sons are finally able to bring the families together. And it's really cute, really short. It was sweet. I liked it. This is Vice and Exploitation by J.T. Hall. This story is an M romance. It's like 3 people. There's some kink, bondage, dominance, submission type stuff in it. It was an interesting plot line. Essentially, it's these 2 undercover cops who are dating, but secretly. One of them has been undercover for 6 months in a drug cartel. That's really like it's like a modeling agency fronting a front for a prostitution ring and drug cartel, and he's undercover there. The third person that end up bringing into their relationship is a young guy who comes there to model, thinking he's actual modeling agent, and doesn't realize he's gonna get pulled into prostitution. So they do the bust, they save him, and then 3 of them go off together. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was well done, so I like that. 3 Strikes by Pepper Pond. I really picked this up because of a Pepper Pond book, and I didn't love it as much as I wished I did. I really like Pepper Pond stuff sometimes. But this one was okay. It was okay. It was good. I ended up giving it a higher ranking because I liked that the main character was one of the main characters was Japanese, and I liked that a part of his behavior that we don't understand at first has something to do with the way people are treating him, which I thought was really interesting, and it made sense and made more sympathetic towards the character because I wasn't really at first. I didn't understand why he was being such a jerk in his place of work. And essentially it's about this guy who's on his 3rd strike at this job, and it's about him and his manager, and yeah, that's all. That's what it's about. I liked it. Next up, we have Status Update by Anna Albert. Status Update is the first book in the Gamers series. Status Update is the first book in the Gamers series. I read the second book first, which is fine. So the thing is about these book series, I really, really like them. I absolutely enjoyed it. You guys can look at my review on Goodreads. I really enjoyed the book, but I gave it 4 stars because I started to I liked the second one a lot more, first of all. I think it might have been part of the reason that it was an interracial couple, might have been part of that. And also that these 2 characters follow a very similar trope as the second book. I guess if I had read this book first and then the second book, it might have been reversed. My scores, who knows? But it's almost like she's following a very specific formula. Road trip. Someone's sister has a wedding. The characters were kind of similar, like the 2 characters in this book as the 2 characters in the other book. And while I liked it still, realizing those kind of parallels were kind of like, I don't know. But this book also had dogs, which was cute. They each had pet dogs. I know people like. So if you like dogs, road trips, queer romance, and games, obviously, because one of them works for this huge game that's been kickstarted, and archaeology is thrown there a little bit, and it was an interesting book. I don't know. I really liked it a lot. I gave it 4 stars. I liked the second book in the series a little bit better. I gave it 5, but there you go. Veronica Mars, Miss $1,000 Timeline. I love Veronica Mars. This picks up right after the Veronica Mars movie, and it was so good. It felt like great. It's Veronica going off and solve this mystery. We get some cameos from people on the show, and we really enjoyed those. The mystery was really interesting. It had some twists to it that I was like really not expecting. I love Veronica just doing her sleuthing and finding out these things and helping these people, and it was just really fantastic, and I really enjoyed it, and I really like the direction that it seems like the books might be going where it comes to the town, at least. Hopefully something will get done about the corruptness of this town, I hope. So I'm really excited. I started the second book and I have not finished it yet because just lots of bugs, but I'm enjoying the second one a lot too. The second one feels more like episodic, I guess, more like episodes of the show, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I really enjoyed the first book a lot. Next up, I read Redefining Realness by Janet Mock. Janet Mock is a writer who is an editor at people.com. She is also trans, and this book is a her memoir talking about her experiences. She founded the movement Girls Like Us. If you guys seen that hashtag Girls Like Us on Twitter or anywhere, she's the one who founded that movement. And this was such a great story. I felt so energized by being from reading this and just from hearing her, like the way that she talks about things. Like I felt like this when I saw her in person at a panel. I felt so energized and so dedicated to my writing and wanted to go back and write like I did that night after that panel, because she's just so inspiring and it's fantastic. It was so wonderful. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I gave it 5 stars. I liked how informative it was. I liked how well written it was. I loved just reading about her story. It was really interesting, really compelling. So definitely a book that I would recommend to people, especially if you haven't read a lot about trans people. Definitely go and pick this one up because she's fantastic, and just go read it. Just go read it. Next up, Emmalin Outlaws, the gay writers who changed America. I actually haven't completely finished this book, but it's written in the section. It's very textbook-like, so I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. It starts in the 50s, talking about gay writers, and it talks about their lives, and so the lives of these gay writers. You get to hear a lot about Capote and Vidal and Williams and other people over the course of the book. And it's really fantastic. Really enjoyed reading about the people. It made me want to pick up a biography of Capote and some other books by these authors that I haven't read. I started reading because of this anthology, this big textbook like thing. And it also talks about queer writing during the time period, where they could sneak in homosexual characters or homosexual themes. And also, what I found most interesting is how those themes changed over time, when and what formats were things a little bit more allowed to slide, like some things are more allowed to slide in poetry, how about Allen Ginsberg maybe, than in some other places, and then in maybe in fiction, short story, or plays, you might not be able to let that slide as much, and maybe you'll only be able to hint at it somewhat. So it was really interesting. I really enjoyed it. And I'm still going to be reading it just over the year, probably reading the next section. The next sections are kind of getting closer to modern times, and it's kind of been like, but I really enjoyed it, so I definitely wanted to recommend that to you guys now while it's still fresh on my mind. Okay. Next up is Rising Sun, the first book of the Chronicles of Spartak series. First thing I'm going to say is trigger warnings for sexual assault and, for rape. Good as for rape. Trigger warnings for sexual assault and rape. Because I was not prepared for those, but that happened. This book is very dark. It's set in the future. About 40 years ago, the middle class collapsed. Now the classes are downers and baronials, and then reapers, who really aren't really a class. They're like the poorest of the poor, and they just kind of disappear a lot. Probably being forced into slavery illegally. But now, guess what? Slaves are legal! Yeah, a loophole legalizes slavery about a couple hundred years into the future. Really not a great place to be in. The main character is Spartak, and I really like that what we have here in this dystopia world is Spartak is a queer action hero. Like, he's an athlete, he's getting set up for the Olympic trials, he's one of the downers, and he also is bisexual. And I really like having this awesome queer action hero who is really a badass, and I really enjoyed that a lot. And also, his love interest is also very badass. At least in the latter half of the book, he's become such a badass, and I really love that. And what happens to Spartak is that he is sold, and he's betrayed and sold as the first legal slave. And since the slavery was legal, long time ago, obviously. You know what I mean? Like, he's the first legal slave in forever. So, it caused a bit controversy. Essentially, Spartak becomes a symbol for a lot of people when he's not trying to be. For these people who are trying to create the second American Revolution, they're like, free Spartak. For the downers, they're like, hey, this is Spartak is this athlete who cares that they sold him as a slave? He's still in these Olympic trials. He's still gonna win the Olympics for us, and he's gonna show that we're more than what our class says. And I thought it was so well done and really brilliant, and I really liked a lot of elements of the story. There were some things I didn't like. I might do a full review of it. I think I want to. You can look at my Goodreads review and you can look at the review on my blog, because I do talk about some of the things I don't like as much on there. So I'm going to put a link to my blog review. You can also probably see the exact same thing on Goodreads if you just look at my Goodreads review of it. But yeah, I really enjoyed the story. didn't give it a 5 star, I gave it 4 star, but I can now I'm gonna go into more reasons of why I didn't give it that a full 5 stars on this one. And that's it for this wrap up. Those are all the books I read in April, and I hope you guys enjoyed this wrap up. If you did, you should like and subscribe to my channel. And I have obviously more videos coming out. I had some issues last month with a hard drive that erased a lot of footage that I filmed, but here I am back in filming again. So I'm happy to be here. And if you guys should tell me what your favorite book of April was, I think mine may have been Redefining Realness, just because I've wanted to read it for so long and it completely lived up to my expectations. And I'll see you all next time.